I don't care that he's a basketball player overseas and he supposedly makes money. Okay, I don't care about none of that. He didn't have a stable place to live. How did he even get to be a candidate, let alone chosen? Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about the best and worst matches in parentheses from the past few seasons. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Don't forget to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now, my earrings and my headband, okay? Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all. So, as y'all know, Married at First Sight Season 12 has been a mess. I think everybody can agree that we are so tired of this season. We're so ready for decision day. I can't believe after we sat up here and watched this whole season, they would skip a week before they gave us decision day and gave us this little special with some of the couples talking about, we don't want to watch that, okay? So instead of doing that, in honor of this terrible season where I feel like there were 0 matches, at first I wanted to do this video talking about the worst matches in Married at First Sight history, and I had you guys leave me some names on the community tab, but then I realized, y'all, I forgot the details. Like, I remember the person not being the best husband or wife, but I couldn't remember why. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time since I watched those seasons. A lot of those seasons I haven't watched since the first time I watched them. So I was like, I do not feel like going back and reviewing the tapes. I'm already on my last leg with Married at First Sight. It's already getting on my last nerve. I do not feel like going back and watching all of that. So I made the executive decision to talk about these past few seasons since they're fresh on my mind. So I'm going to be talking about the best and worst matches from seasons to season 11, because we already know about 12. So let's start with season 8. Season 8, we had 2 out of 4 couples make it. So I'm going to say the best match from this season was Keith and Christine. I feel like a lot of people, when we first met Keith, we had a lot of doubts in Keith. We thought he was a grandmama's boy. We thought he wouldn't be able to step up to the plate with Christina, who was already, you know, on her own. She's a real estate agent. She had a really go-getter mentality. And even throughout their relationship, she felt like he needed to do certain things to step up to the plate as a man. And I feel like Keith did that. I feel like they're one of the most successful couples from Married at First Sight. I just love to see their love story blossom. I also want to mention AJ and Stephanie, because they are another couple that are still together. And I feel like this season was a success because they matched 2 couples. You know, half of the couples made it. And I feel like that's a good success rate for a season. Now let's get to the matches that didn't make sense. So Jasmine and Will. You know, I always joke that Will said that his type is Megan Good or Drea. And every time I mention that in my lives, people have a good laugh about that. Because Will, you tried it. I feel like where they butt heads the most is she wanted someone who was a provider who would pay all of the bills, and he is someone who believes in splitting bills. I feel like this is a concept that polarizes people. I just feel like the experts should not have matched Will and Jasmine when they have such different views on gender roles. I feel like it could be a deal breaker in these types of situations, and it absolutely was. I really do feel like Will did not give his all. I feel like he wasn't vulnerable enough. I feel like he really didn't try, and I feel like Jasmine really did. And you know, I feel like even though she disagreed with him on that major issue, she still tried to like put in all the effort, and he just didn't return the favor. And then after that, like, he was the one who said no on decision day, but he wasn't trying to get a divorce. Like, that's one of the things I heard after they got married, and I just couldn't believe it, because I'm like, you didn't try. You said no on decision day. Why don't you go ahead and give her this divorce? It didn't make any sense to me. But I do know that Jasmine just had a baby recently, so I assume she's in another relationship. I do think their divorce is final at this point. I hope. I wish both of them the best though. Now let's get to Kate and Luke. This is a contender for one of the worst matches of all time for Married at First Sight. This couple, their relationship, they're the whole reason why I started reviewing this show in the first place, because I could not believe the way Luke was treating Kate. While they were on their honeymoon, Luke told her that when they kissed, he felt dead inside. On their honeymoon, he barely knew this woman. How did she make you feel dead inside and you literally just met her? It was just downhill from there. It was very clear that he wasn't attracted to Kate, and because of that, he kept her at a distance. And I feel like he did express it, but I just wish he would have just left the situation instead of mistreating her. And Kate put up with a lot of crap from Luke. For instance, he made her keep the fact that they were intimate with one another a secret. And I don't know why he would do that. Like, he constantly would say that he wasn't attracted to her and that he wasn't feeling the situation, but you slept with her and tried to make her keep it a secret. And, you know, that made Kate feel some type of way. I mean, that's another level of rejection. He also tried to make Kate look bad by making it seem like she had a drinking problem with literally no proof. On top of that, he totally disappeared for their anniversary and left her crying alone on that day. So Luke did a lot of things to Kate that I felt was unnecessary. He was too shallow for this situation. I feel like if you are so caught up on someone's looks that you will mistreat them, you should not sign up for Married at First Sight at all. Like, I feel like if you're stuck on looks, you shouldn't have someone else choose your wife or your husband. It's just as simple as that. If you're not going to try to get to know someone for their character traits and try to see why the experts matched you, it is what it is. I do know that Luke is with a black woman today, and that's what a lot of people said. A lot of people thought he just wanted to be with a black woman or an other, and that's why he wasn't attracted to Kate. I feel like either way, whether he was attracted to a different type of woman physically or not, he should not have treated her that way. I really hope that Luke grew from that, But on this show, child, that was one of the worst matches. This was the beginning of a villain on Married at First Sight. I feel like this was the beginning of every season. Now they want to do a bad match and have a villain. That's the way I feel. That's the way it comes off, because ever since then we've had a villain and it's only gotten worse and worse. Okay, let's get to season 9. So starting with the best match, oh my goodness, Greg and Diona. Greg and Diona have to be my favorite couple of all time for Married at First Sight. Like, they really meshed. And Diona did start off closed off with Greg, and a lot of people were doubting her and saying, well, she's not opening up to this experience. And I knew that with someone like Greg, who had worked on himself, he had gone to therapy, he did the work to get over any past trauma that he had. He was ready for a wife. He came into this with a whole house for his wife, a nice house at that. Like, Greg was serious. This is the type of male candidate that I think Married at First Sight, use this as a prototype. Use Greg as a prototype. This is the type of man that we're looking for, that I think this is the type of man that any woman would love to have. And Diona was a little closed off at first, but she just couldn't help but, open her heart to a man like Greg, who was like so compassionate, so sweet, so patient. Just such a sweet man. And y'all, they are still together to this day. They just had a baby. I am so happy for them. Congratulations to Greg and Diona. We wish you nothing but the best. We love you, and we just wish you so many more years, the rest of your life, of happiness together. This was another successful season because we did have another couple, Jamie and Elizabeth, who are still together to this day. I can only hope that their relationship is not as toxic as it was on the show, because y'all can go back and watch my old reviews. They were not my favorite. Okay, I really didn't even think they were gonna make it. But you know what? They seem to be getting counseling. So maybe they're like in a different place. I don't want to even, let's not even get into Elizabeth flipping the table and cursing Jamie out in front of everybody and Jamie antagonizing her throughout this entire experience. Let's not even get into that, okay? Let's focus on the positive. They seem to be doing better. They even said they want to have a child soon. Hope, like I said, I hope they work through their issues, because let's not bring children into that. But that was the other successful couple from that season. Let's get into Keith and Iris. Do I think that Keith and Iris were a bad match? I don't think on paper Keith and Iris were a bad match. I think it would take a special type of man with patience to be able to get married at first sight to a woman who is a virgin. I just have to be honest about that. Not many men have it. You know, we even see on this season with Clara and Ryan how it can be rough on a person to have to wait even after they're married. So I am not gonna give too much to Keith. I do think people were a little bit too harsh on Iris. Even to this day, people are still nasty to her. And I just don't feel like that's warranted. I feel like, you know, Iris came in and she gave her all. She stepped outside of her comfort zone, whether y'all think she did or not, she did. You know, she stepped outside of her comfort zone and she tried. And I do feel like Keith, I feel like Keith believes he did the best he could, but I feel like Keith could have did a little bit more to be a little bit more romantic and make her a little bit more comfortable. Keith said he was not ready to be a husband. He said it. He said it out of his own mouth that he wasn't ready to be a husband. So it is what it is. That marriage one never gonna work. I think Iris maybe wanted him to try a little bit more and he just wasn't willing to. So that relationship ended. It is what it is. Their relationship, it seemed like it ended a little bit on a messy note because Keith was feeling a way about Iris doing interviews and telling her truth, and he felt like it was painting him in a bad light. And I don't think they ended on the best of terms, because when she announced that her divorce was final, he left kind of a little nasty note underneath that. But you know what? It is what it is. They're divorced. They go their separate ways. So I hope they find the best person for them in the future. Now let's talk about the worst match of this season. Matt and Amber. Let's talk about how Matt didn't even have a stable place to live. How did he even get chosen? I don't care that he's a basketball player overseas and he supposedly makes money. Okay. I don't care about none of that. He didn't have a stable place to live. How did he even get to be a candidate, let alone chosen? Okay. Matt withheld most of his everything. Matt didn't have a place to live. His family didn't show up to the wedding. So we didn't even get a chance to get to know his family and to see that side of him. Amber didn't get any of that. So it was easy for him to basically not share himself with her and be vulnerable whatsoever. During the season, Matt didn't come home some nights and had Amber up all night crying. He literally wouldn't answer her phone call and be gone all night. Okay, and this happened more than once. I feel like when the cameras disappeared, that's when Matt would disappear. A lot of viewers were frustrated with Amber because she continued to try to, she would fall for his routine of apologizing, just walking in like, hey, and she would, she would kick up a fuss for a couple of minutes and then just accept him open arms. And their relationship came to a head when her friend caught Matt out with another woman. He got caught in the act with another woman. And she even said on decision day there were women in her DMs telling her all about how Matt was cheating on her. Between Luke and Matt, it's between those two. I feel like Matt, especially from the very beginning, probably should not have been chosen, at all. He was not. I think he legitimately, I believe Matt just wanted to be on TV. I think he likes attention. Even when they did a catch-up special with them, Amber is desperately trying to get a divorce from him. Y'all let me know, has she actually got her divorce? I didn't check on this, but she desperately wanted him to sign these papers and he refused to do so, and I just could not understand why. He's still trying to make her miserable to this day. I just don't get it. But Amber has moved on, and I'm sure she wants to, you know, move on in her relationship. She seems to be very happy. She loves her, the tallest of tall men, and she got one, you know what I'm saying? Whereas Matt is somewhere thinking he's, you know, player from the Himalayas. Y'all let me know where Matt lands as far as worst matches go. So let's move on to season 10. This is the first season where they had 5 couples. I'm trying to see. Okay, so there was only one successful couple from this season, and that was Jessica and Austin. They had their arguments and disagreements, but I feel like overall both of them were ready to be married. Both of them were ready to be open. And I think that's the reason why they were so successful in their marriage. And to this day, I believe they're still married. I really don't have much to say about them. I think a lot of their success was overshadowed by the couples that did not make it and the drama that was going on with the rest of the couples. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to them. I'm gonna talk about Katie and Derek next, because I feel like she came into this stuck on her ex. I feel like she came into this situation with the wrong attitude. She was kind of even looking at this situation. She didn't say this out of her mouth, but I felt from the beginning she was looking at this situation as like a rebound thing. Well, like, my ex didn't want me, so I'm going to get married. I don't understand why Katie was chosen. Maybe they didn't do enough research on Katie, and that's why I feel like they need to vet these people better, because she just got out of a relationship and she's going to jump and get married to somebody. Right before she got married, she was crying about this guy. So I knew it wasn't going to work out between Katie and Derek because of that alone, but I feel like Katie also emasculated Derek anytime she got a chance. Derek was not the type of man that she, in her mind, that she wanted. She wants this, I don't know, I think she wants someone who wears John Deere and goes hunting, and you know what I'm saying? She wants a manly man, whatever she considers a manly man to be, when I feel like Derek might not have those qualities that you think you want in a man. But I think he was very sweet. He was very considerate of her feelings. He was willing to put her on his insurance. Like, girl, this man actually really cared about you. And I feel like she never actually gave Derek a chance. And I feel like us as viewers felt really bad for Derek, because he gave his all and he was a very sensitive person. I feel like he was willing to compromise so much about himself to be in this marriage, and she didn't appreciate it. And at the end of the day, Katie was her focus was elsewhere. She was never going to give him a chance. It is what it is. So let's move on to the other bad matches. Oh, child, I don't even know who to go to next, child. I don't even know which one is worse. Let's move on to Taylor and Brandon. I feel like neither one of them were ready to be married, honestly. I feel like Taylor had a little bit of, you know, I want to be in front of the camera to her. You know, I feel like she wanted to be on TV. Not gonna lie. Even Brandon brought that up a few times, that he felt that she wanted to be on TV. She tried out for other dating shows. Allegedly, this is the rumor, she wasn't the first one chosen to be Brandon's match, but the other person dropped out, so they chose Taylor to fill that person's spot. I feel like if the person dropped out, I feel like y'all should have just scrapped that altogether. Y'all shouldn't have had a fifth couple. Y'all should have just did 4 again, because obviously they weren't the best match for him if y'all didn't choose her to begin with. You know, I feel like that was a misstep on the expert's part. Now let's get to Brandon. Brandon was very emotionally unstable, and while I do feel like Taylor antagonizes him in some instances, he even got into it with production, almost physically got into it with production. There were many instances where Brandon let his emotions get the best of him, and where he there was an instance where he cursed everybody out. All the couples were together on the honeymoon in a van, and he cursed everybody out in the van. Like, he really was emotionally unstable, and I feel like he should not have been chosen in the first place. And yeah, I just feel like neither one of them, like I said, neither one of them were ready. I mean, their relationship got so chaotic to the point where they had to get restraining orders placed on one another. So, and we never really got, I feel like we never really got Brandon's side of the story when it comes to that whole, you know, restraining order situation, because either he didn't show up to the reunion or he didn't get invited. So, I mean, even to this day, Brandon is still a little bit bitter when it comes to this show. I've seen on his page where he's, you know, talked negatively about Taylor. Like, to this day, he's very bitter towards Taylor in this whole experience with Married at First Sight. I can only pray that he finds peace at some point, because you should be getting past that, bruh. Like, this shouldn't be still like something you're actively talking about and your feelings about. Like, you should be working past that. Let's just talk about Mindy and Zach. Zach is 100% superficial. It is what it is. He knew he wasn't going to give Mindy a chance from the very beginning. When he first saw her, he knew, but he still put on a front for the wedding. She didn't fit into this Instagram perfect look that he was going for. And I don't even know why Zach signed up for this show, to be honest. Like, if you're going to be that superficial, you shouldn't sign up for Married at First Sight, just like I mentioned earlier. I feel like Mindy was a good woman, and she was willing to put up with so much from him. I feel like that's a part of the problem on her end. She needs to learn how to set boundaries and stick to them. You know what I'm saying? She don't just put up with just anything from a man. And I mean, Zach didn't even move. Zach is one of the worst husbands in history of this show, simply because he wouldn't even move in with her. He never even moved in with her after the honeymoon. That shows how much effort he didn't put into this. And Mindy was still willing to give it a shot. Girl, that just shows where you need to work on with your self-esteem. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you weren't willing to move in with me, oh, this is over then. Like, why are we still even like pretending to try? Like, I'm not even, unless I'm going to get fined, I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? And Mindy even said on her season that, you know, they don't get fined for, you know, breaking up before decision day, as long as they're willing to film afterwards. So just a little fun fact for those who didn't know. The last straw with that relationship was Zach talking to one of her friends behind their back, and them low-key having like a flirtatious relationship and discussing Mindy and Zach's relationship behind Mindy's back with her friend. Like, that was so jacked up, not only of Zach but of her friend. Like, that was a whole betrayal. And so it took like that backstabbing situation for her to actually realize, I need to cut all ties. We all breathed a sigh of relief, but we all wish that Mindy would have done that sooner. Like, it shouldn't have taken that, because he did not care about her whatsoever. So let's move on to Mika and Michael. Ciao. Ow. A lot of people give Mika grief, and I don't agree with it, because she dealt with deception from the first day of her honeymoon. Like, on the plane there, she dealt with him lying. From the beginning, he was a liar. Okay, let's just be clear on that. He gave her an ultimatum about, you know, they're gonna have to be intimate on this honeymoon, or he was gonna leave her. And when they got there, he acted like that conversation was never had. He acted like he never said it. And I feel like it was downhill from there. And like I said, a lot of people were mad at Mika for her quote unquote attitude and how she was acting throughout the season. But how would you feel if someone was consistently lying to you from the first moment you met them? How can you ever have trust with someone? How can you ever laugh and joke? How can you feel secure with a man that lies to you consistently? This man lied about the gas mileage in his car. He lied about being a principal. He lied about his salary. He lied about being a yoga instructor. Like, y'all, what was the reason? What was the reason? He invited her to a yoga class where he was supposed to be the instructor, and he never showed up. And she asked around about him, and they was like, well, the only Michael that we know around here is the janitor. So like, I just don't understand what type of attitude y'all wanted her to have when someone is consistently lying to them. Like, if y'all didn't like Mika, y'all really wouldn't like me, because I would have stayed snapping on Michael. Okay. And speaking of Michael should not have been chosen, period. Y'all couldn't even vet the fact that he was actually a yoga instructor. So I know y'all couldn't vet the fact that he actually had a job. Like, I feel like that's the least y'all can do if y'all are going to get people married to one another, is make sure they have a job. Maybe speak with their employer. You know what I'm saying? Like, please, because you're going to have a situation like Mika and Michael where his whole everything he said could have been considered a lie because he lied about so much. How do I know what you're telling the truth about? How can we move forward when you are lying about everything? And at the end of the day, I do think that Michael lied to impress her. I don't think he lied to be malicious. I don't. I think he just had some things that he was struggling with in his childhood, and it manifested in him lying and living this lie to try to impress people. Do I think he should have been on the show? Never. I don't. Do I think he was probably one of the worst picks they ever had for this show? Yes. But in a way, I do kind of feel bad for him, because for you to come on the show and lie like that, tell lies that can easily be figured out, something got to be wrong. Some got to be wrong. Some got to be wrong. Some got to be wrong. Okay. A update on Michael is he did put out an apology, a public apology to Mika. I don't know if Mika ever responded, but he really did apologize for lying to her and treating her the way he did during this experience. So I think that's the reason why I have a little bit more compassion for him, because he did apologize to her, even if it was like a long time. It took forever for him to say it. At least he did. And he's moved on. I believe he's engaged to another woman, and he has his own podcast and everything. I hope that Michael has done the work on himself to be in a relationship with somebody else. I'm just going to say that, and let's move on. So finally, let's talk about season 11. And I feel like out of all the seasons I've talked about today, I feel like season 11 was their most successful season, with 3 out of the 5 couples still being together to this day. I want to say it's the most successful season in the history of Married at First Sight. I feel like this is the season y'all should use as the prototype. And another reason why I'm glad I'm just discussing the latter seasons is because the beginning seasons is kind of like trial and error. Sorry, but the beginning seasons, y'all are more like the guinea pigs. You know what I'm saying? You should be getting better and better at matching people. You know what I'm saying? Especially after having all these years of experience. The last season should be the more successful seasons. I feel like you should be getting these couples right, you know, at this point. Season 11, they got it right. Even though there were some matches that I feel like should not have been matched together, and maybe purposefully were matched together. We love to see the couples from Married at First Sight make it. I don't never want to tune into a season of Married at First Sight and not be able to root for anybody like this last season. So let me just get into the couples that made sense. Bennett and Amelia probably is the best matchup y'all have ever done in the history of Married at First Sight, because quirkiness for quirkiness, if y'all would have matched them up with anybody else, I don't know if they would have made it, but they match each other so well. So well. We were a little bit concerned about Bennett because, you know, Bennett didn't seem like he had a stable job, but I think at this point he does. And Amelia was a doctor. She didn't care about him being a stay-at-home dad. So I think that's the reason why I wasn't too concerned about that. They were just, from the beginning, they were drawn to each other. They really connected in a way that I think that we haven't seen anybody else connect on this show, and especially as quick as they did. I think the reason why I feel that way, they accept each other flaws and all. Another one of the best matches I think they've ever had on this show, Woody and Amani. From the moment they saw each other, I really do think it was love at first sight for them. Like, even when they were at the altar with one another and they had just met each other, Woody and Amani looked like they looked like they knew each other already. They looked like they had been in a relationship for years before they got married. And I just feel like Woody was just so ready to be a husband. Like, I feel like, you know, even though his family didn't think he was, he knew it. And I feel like if a man is ready, they're just ready. And I feel like Woody was one of those people that were just ready. Amani was open. She's a great communicator. I feel like both of them are good communicators, and they're very direct with one another. They're very open with their feelings. They're on the same page. They agree on the big things. So the little things it's little for them when they argue. You know what I'm saying? Woody is just very charismatic, and you know, when him and Amani get together, they're fun to watch. And so, like, we were just even ready to see them on spinoffs because we love their love. You know what I'm saying? This brings us to Miles and Karen, which they had a very rocky season. And honestly, I don't even know if they would have made it had C-19 not affected their season. Like, their season lasted 3 months longer than what it was supposed to. And I feel like had they not had those extra 3 months, they probably would not have made it. But I do feel like Miles was another great choice. He's so sweet. He's so compassionate. He's so patient. He was so ready and willing. He's so open to communicate. He's someone else who went to therapy, found out that he had depression, and learned coping skills to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Miles did the work, and he did what he had to do to be ready to be a good husband. I feel like Karen was a little bit closed off. I think she was focused on the outer appearance for a while. She actually found out who Miles was before she was supposed to meet him at the altar. I feel like she was already nervous about this experience, but I feel like she used that kind of as a scapegoat for not giving Miles a chance in the beginning. And I feel like she just wasn't open as she could have been, and I feel like that frustrated a lot of viewers. Any little thing Miles did, she would pick at it, and he wasn't doing nothing but trying to be your man. He just wanted to be your man. For instance, when Miles was joking about them planning a date for them to be intimate for the first time, and he wrote it down on the calendar, and she completely overreacted and literally left him to go stay at her apartment that night without telling him where she was. Also, we do know that she was very uncomfortable talking about their intimate life on camera because of her family, so that was another thing holding them back. I will say she did cook for him. She cooked for him every night. But I feel like we were just frustrated because we felt like Miles was giving so much, and we felt like Karen wasn't giving enough. And you know what? It ended up working out. They ended up working out in the long run. I feel like their personality traits mesh. I feel like what they want in life mesh. I feel like she finally opened up to Miles when he put his foot down. Like, maybe he was a little bit too agreeable, and when he finally, you know, gave her a little bit of pushback, I feel like it gave her what she needed. I feel like she saw a little bit of what she needed from Miles after that, and was willing to give him a chance. And they seem to be good to this day. You know, we can only go about based off what they tell us and what they show us on Instagram. They seem happy, so I can only go back based off that, and they seem like they're, you know, good couple. I can only wish them the best. I'm actually happy for them, honestly. Now, enough gushing about the couples that were the best on this season. Let's talk about the couples that didn't make it. And I don't feel like the individuals were necessarily the problem. I just feel like they shouldn't have been matched with one another. For instance, Brett and Olivia. Brett was set in stone that he wants children, right? He definitely wants children. Olivia was 50-50, leaning more towards, no, I don't want children. So I felt like I feel like they shouldn't have been matched based off of that alone. That's a big deal breaker. Another deal breaker for them, she's high maintenance, a frivolous spender of money. She likes to go out. She likes to travel. She likes to, you know, order food all the time. And she has the money to do so, to accommodate that lifestyle. Whereas Brett, he is more frugal. He likes to budget. And so they really bumped heads on that issue as well. And so I just feel like because of those two major things, they probably would never work, even if emotionally they were on the same page, which I feel like Olivia wasn't willing to give a lot emotionally. I feel like she, you know, expected a lot and didn't really want to give as much, whereas Brett, I feel like he was willing to compromise a little bit more than she was. Either way, I feel like they weren't going to work because of the big deal breakers. And I feel like, I feel like they tried to villainize Brett a little bit when in actuality they just were not a good match. And I feel like no one should get in that relationship. I feel like no one should really get too much blame, and no one should be pointing the finger too much because they just were not a good match. It is what it is. And then we get to Henry and Christina. I feel like Henry and Christina should not have been chosen. Neither Henry nor Christina. Henry is a little bit too withdrawn. He's a little bit too in his own head. And I just don't see how this sort of situation would be good for a person like Henry, who is so just, stuck in his own head. And we've seen him step out of his shell. But how do we know he would have actually stepped out of his shell with somebody else? We don't know. It took someone outgoing like Woody and, the other people in the friend groups for us to even see his personality. You know what I'm saying? Henry was the type of person, they were jumping on a trampoline. Oh, this is the craziest thing I've ever done. No. And Christina was someone else who didn't have a stable place to live. So I'm not even quite sure how she made it through to be chosen as, the same way like Matt. Christina was very insecure, and I feel like she took a lot of that out on Henry. Even though Henry wasn't giving her much to work with, I feel like from the very beginning she was nasty to even production. She was nasty to production. Like, when are we gonna start type of thing. She was very much a diva, and she acted that way behind the scenes. She acted like that with Henry. She just had a nasty attitude altogether, and I just feel like because of her insecurities, she wasn't able to truly open up. At the end of the day, she accused him of cheating on her with a man, and that was her whole scandal, child. It's a scandal. I feel like it was completely made up. It was an excuse for her feeling a way that Henry was never attracted to her. And I do believe Henry was never attracted to her in the beginning either. He just wasn't willing to express that. I wish he would have. I wish he would have just left her. I wish they would have just left each other alone, because the whole situation wasn't working from the beginning. I feel like they might be top 5 for worst matches though, for real. This video was a dedication to season 12, the worst season ever of Married at First Sight. 0 out of 5 matches in my opinion. So y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Y'all rank down below. Y'all tell me the worst matches out of this list versus the best matches out of this list. Y'all can tell me down below what y'all think, and I would love to read your responses. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.